I've had some complaints from my family members that these seats are a little uncomfortable on long rides. So we have all the old seats still, and rather than throwing them away, we're going to harvest some of the foam rubber out of them and give these a little extra padding to make a little more comfortable ride. We got the cover stripped off of this one. It's just vinyl stapled onto some plywood. Oh look, another piece of gum. And all the other foam stripped out from the backs. Now we just kind of cut out pieces. We either run this on the top and maybe some thinner stuff underneath the main cushion to give it a little more cushiony feel. And then we'll be able to slip the original cover on because there's a lot of extra material on here for now to test it out. Here's what I came up with. The foam has a taper on the back of the seats, so we're putting a little more towards the rear and then have it kind of disappear on the front. I don't have a long enough piece to do it, so I sectioned in two pieces, spray glued it down. Now we got to try to squeeze all this in. I had it out in the sun, but it's still pretty cold outside, so bring it out the heat gun. I'm going to warm it all up, kind of stretch over the last piece, and then re-staple the whole mess. All right, fought and got it stretched over. Now we're just going to staple it all back in place. All stapled up. We got to throw this back in the bus and let everybody's butts tell me what they think. That's how much more a gap that we have over here. That was lined up with this. So we still have a little bit more. Probably could shove a little bit more with this material. We're just going to swap these out and let everybody decide. We have plenty of extra seats to play with here, so got the cover off of this one. What I want to do is split open all the seams with a razor blade, so I'll have the vinyl as a pattern to use for the material that I'm eventually going to recover the restuffed seats with. So carefully split these seams open. Don't cut your fingers. I got everything cut apart. I marked everything so for the location it's going to be. F is for the front, so we know which way they're going to be. Now we're going to just leave this stuff set out somewhere to flatten out a little bit better. Maybe I might squish it in between something so it'll stay in its flat form. I left the vinyl overnight underneath a board to flatten it out. So now we cut it all apart here and we have the perfect patterns to use to make our new cushions out of a nice blue velour material. I had this lying around from a project from years ago, shoved in my attic, so now it's getting reused. All right, we glued some extra foam on the top of the old bus cushion and we threw some other foam underneath there too in a strip to really give it a little extra feel. Now we got to take our newly sewn fabric and stretch it on over here and staple it on, so hopefully it'll fit good. Here's where material differs from vinyl. It doesn't really want to stretch, so I got all three sides here fit on and we need one more, and it's going to prove a little difficult. So what are we going to compress the cushion underneath here? All right. Here's a difference in the thickness. Hopefully my passengers will be more comfortable. After tackling all the bottom cushions, I wanted to get started on the backrests now, so I had to take apart one of the original covers as a pattern, cut it open to figure out how much I need, but the trouble was I was running out of fabric, so I needed to utilize something else. So I had some of this tan fabric that actually came out of a couch that I threw away, so I cut it off the back of it, so I have a little bit to sew some panels in there to stretch the fabric a little bit further to see if I could finish the backrest too. Alright, we got the seat back all stripped down. We got the foam rubber off. This just slides up in one piece. What I'm going to end up doing is screwing in some wood from this side on a panel in the back over here. We're going to cut open the back part of the cushion, and then we're going to have the material just fold over and staple onto the piece of wood that'll be there. And I also took the opportunity to put a little extra foam for your lower back and part of the seat. And this was just some foam that came with a, I don't know, something that shipped to me, whatever, had some of that lying around. So it's a perfect thickness. Put a little bit of a taper on it and glued it on just to support the small of your back and give you a little more comfort in these seats. All right, we got the back of the seat foam cut open, and we screwed in some pieces of plywood over here, and this is what we're going to be able to wrap around and staple to. So this little void now will be probably put like a panel, wood panel, and I might even be able to put some tiny little shelves or little cubbies to put things in there. We'll figure out something later on, but this will give me the best option for having the seat upholstery nice and tight along the face of this, rather than just slid on like the original vinyl covers, because they could kind of be a little loose or baggy. So okay, here we are all stapled on. I probably could have gotten away without actually stapling it. I put a little bit lighter thickness of black material on the back, and the staples are stapled in here. That was able to tension this up a little bit more and make it a little bit tighter. Otherwise it kind of would have sat on there like a loose sack. So I'm happy with this, since it was the first seat cover ever made. So now I got to move on to these other ones, this one and this one. Well, that's the last cover I have to sew. My rubber band repair on the sewing machine is still holding, and this is all the material I have left. A few scraps, so really stretched it out to the last inch to get this all stuff done. This is all the wood that I fastened on. It's actually one of the seat bottoms that I split in half. We have it screwed through the front. We got some extra padding we're going to put on the back of this seat, and then the same thing, cover will wrap around and be stapled to the wood. I also ran a bead of silicone around the whole perimeter here to kind of lock everything in place and keep anything from squeaking around later on. Even put some blobs back in here because there's a gap right there. Alright, the new cover is all attached. We just have it wrapping around and stapled onto the wood that we put on the inside of the seat. And I have already made a cardboard template that's gonna fit in here. I'm gonna trace this out on a piece of paneling, and then we're gonna attach some pockets, I believe, to this, either mesh or fabric or something. We'll figure that out when we're working on it. 2 down and 1 more to go. But now I have a choice. I have to unbolt the seat because I can't get to behind the wall, or take the wall down. And it's probably going to be easier, because I could do it by myself, to take down the wall. So pull out all the screws and hopefully just slide it right out. That literally took less than 2 minutes. So now I have access to the back of this seat. I already had this in here that the wall was attached to, and there's wood already in here. So I just have to remove the cover, remove the foam, and put a little more wood along these 2 spots and staple in the new cover. For carving out the back of these seats, I found the best thing was a nice serrated steak knife. So this thing did a halfway decent job cutting down. It's all going to be covered, but I wanted to get a little better shape when the cover gets stapled around the rear of it. So I gotta trim a little of this on an angle on this one. We got our extra padding glued onto the back of the chair for a little more lower back support. And now we have our freshly sewn cover. I was running out of material, so I got some black material, a little left over here on that side, and some of the blue. We stretched it out, just had enough to finish. Cover is all stuffed into the foam. I was going to attach the fabric through the foam to kind of hold it in place with either stitching or buttons, but it actually worked out well without it. You could pull it pretty tight and staple it where you need. So we're going to slip this whole assembly on and staple it in place. We used a cardboard template for the back of the seat, and then we made a panel out of the same paneling we used for the bathroom. So touched up the edges, countersunk some holes, and now we're going to take this panel and screw it right on the back here to cover it up. Like I said, I'm still thinking about putting some pockets here and with mesh or something, but right now I'm going to fit this on here, and then we will search for something suitable to put on at a later date. We got the panel screwed on to the back over there to cover up all of our staples and other work, and all the rest of the seats are all done. Now, I never did any type of sewing like this before, so before I attempted to sew these covers, I practiced on all the rear covers back here. So the tan stripe material, no one really liked it. Like I said, I had this around, so we only covered the tops. We left the tan striped underneath, and we were able to save the zipper attached to one side over here and split them off, and kind of made these all up and made new curtains also of the same matching material. And the kids for Christmas got me a mascot for the bus, a little crab, so he hangs out in the back over here, or we'll put him in the window to watch people behind us when we're driving. Thanks for watching. We'll be doing other things to this eventually. Don't drive too close or I'll pinch you.